Hi everyone, thank you for visiting JEPhotographyDesign. I'm just going to do another quick tutorial on how to use this digital background that I made. It was something quick and fun that I did this year for Christmas with my kids, and it's for sale on my Etsy store. I was also giving it away for free for a couple days in our Facebook group, which is, I'm just going to pop over to it to show you. This is the In the Box group if anyone's interested. Feel free to come visit us. And then I also have one, it's called Digital and Composite Photo Education. So feel free to come and check it out. I also have free templates right now. These Adopt Me ones for dogs. Or cats or whatever animals. Hopefully these might help some animals find their forever homes. So these are actually free downloads if you join the group. You can download it straight from the Dropbox and give it a try, use it. The only thing I ask is that you do not share them. If somebody wants to use them, they can come and join the group and download them, but that you do not share them. They are all made by me and take quite a bit of time, so I would appreciate if you could do that. Sorry, back to Photoshop. So this was what I did. I'll show you the end result, and it was crazy how many people, how many comments I got on some of the Facebook groups for this particular photo. So as you can see, I have 2 kids in this one, yet the template is only for 1. So I'll show you quickly how I did that. Now what I did was I took a picture on my countertop of this wonderful flower mess and all the different things, took it from above the counter standing on a chair, and then in a separate photo I put my kids on a green tablecloth, only so it was easier to mask. Well, not so much my son here because he wore green pajamas, but this one was easier. So I just used green because the brown carpet with the skin color makes it a little bit harder to mask for the selection tool to find out where it wants me to select. So I will work in this one. I've already done full editing in Lightroom, so I do all my adjustments, my contrasts, my exposure, all that kind of stuff, white balance in Lightroom, and I've already exported it into Photoshop. So I'm just going to show you from this point what I do. So in Photoshop, I go over to the left-hand side, and I'm using my quick selection tool. Actually, I'm going to try the magic wand right now. And if you don't have magic wand, you just right click on the tool and go magic tool and just click. Oh, see, clearly that didn't work. So I'm going to go back to my quick selection, and now I'm going to use my negative, and I'm going to use just the right bracket on my keyboard to start deselecting what I don't want, which I don't know why I did all that crazy stuff, but anyways, I'll just quickly deselect it. As you can see, it's taking things out that I want included in the picture. So now I'm going to go back to my plus tool, and I'm just going to add those back in. Any little things that it might have missed. Add that for the hands. I'm going to actually zoom in here to about 40%. You can see it's missing the fingertip. So I'm just going to click on that little fingertip and get his hair here. And it's because the hair is darker and the shadowing of the blanket or the tablecloth, it made it hard for it to distinguish where the line was for it to stop selecting. So sometimes you just have to go in and revise it. So you can see it missed over here. So I'm going to go back in and just quickly add that. Wait for it to do its thing. Add it back in. And now I don't know what happened. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back. If anything like that happens, just go back into your history, quick select, go back to where you last were, and it'll bring it back to where you were working. So I'm happy with that. Now what I'm going to do is go select and mask. And it's going to bring up the select and mask tool. I usually do smoothing of about 4 or 5, radius of 2 pixels, and I feather it usually 1 pixel. And that's pretty much what I do. I output just to selection for this one, but sometimes, depending on what I'm selecting and what I'm doing, I'll output it to a new layer with a layer mask if I need to, or even a new document. But for this one, I'm just going to do selection, and I'm going to do OK. And now what it's done is it's literally selected my son. So I'm just clicking over here on the drag or the move tool. You can see the little scissors. I'm going to click in him, and you can see now I'm actually moving him. Well, I can see it missed a little part here and there. It's alright. I'm going to drag him. So what I did is I was dragging him, and I hovered my mouse over the Snow Angel Cookie Digital, or whatever you're using, and I'm going to actually click right in the middle and just drop his picture. Right there. And clearly he's way too big, so I'm going to do Edit, Free Transform, and once my little transform box comes up, I'm going to shrink my screen a bit. And I know there's a shortcut to that, but I don't remember what it is right now, so I just type it in. Sorry to those that may know what that is. And so I'm just going to shrink him until he kind of fits in my snow angel. So as you can see, his legs are sticking out and he's not 100% fitting. So I'm going to press OK, or press Enter to apply him there. I'm going to increase my screen size again. Now, I want to bring his leg here more into the snow angel. So I'm still on his layer. Edit. I'm going to puppet warp this one. So it gives some kind of weird cobwebbing looking thing. And I normally just pin areas that I definitely do not want to move. I don't want his head to move. I don't want that to move. And for now I'm going to pin this leg and this leg so I can work on this leg. And I'm just going to puppet warp it in. And now I'm going to take this pin. I just clicked on that black, press delete because I don't want that pin there anymore. And on the pin I put down on his bottom foot, I'm just going to again puppet warp it in. Now it looks a little bit odd because, well, his leg is a little bit angled how it's not supposed to be. So I just add another pin, straighten it out a bit, and you can see he puppet warps in. So we've got him in where I want him now, and as you can see it kind of looks like he's floating. So what I do is I double click on his picture and it'll bring up the layer style. Not exactly sure how yours will look. Mine already I have pre-drop shadows in, so that one doesn't work, but I like that one. And I just kind of add a couple drop shadows until it looks a little bit realistic. And then what I want to do is add a layer. So I'll just Control Alt N. No, Control N. Drawing a blank now how I do that. So I'm just going to go New Layer. And it's Shift Control N. I was doing the wrong thing. So Shift Control N. And now the layer is over top of the picture, but I want it underneath. Oops. Sorry about that. My computer's being a little bit slow. So I want it underneath. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get my brush. I'm on a round brush. I want a really low opacity, about 19%. Just play around with this. And I don't quite want black. I want like a darker color though, a darker gray. And now all I'm going to do is, because I'm under the picture, I'm just going to brush in some shadows. Maybe I need to bring the opacity up a bit. Brush in some shadows. But as you can see, I can paint over top of him, and it doesn't matter because I am underneath his layer. So if I were to go really, really, really high, you'll see the shadowing coming in, but not going on top of him. But I don't want it that dark. So I'm going to bring the opacity back down, and again just brushing the shadows in very gently, kind of wherever the natural shadow would fall, and just brush it in. I'm going to go really quick just so I don't take up all kinds of time, but you know, wherever you think the shadow would fall. And what I also do, I'm going to add another layer, this one over top. This time I want to color on the picture, so I'm going to stick with my low opacity, low flow, and I'm just going to kind of put some shadowing also where I think it would be if he was literally laying there. So just a little bit on his arms, just so it doesn't look like he's floating in the air. A little bit there. So just kind of following, and depending on where your light source is coming from, I took them both at the same angle, so they're both coming in from the left, but you might need to add a little bit of shadowing depending on where your light source is coming from. So what I would do now is to bring in the second sun. I can do one of two things. You can save this and then create a whole new one. I'm going to unlock this layer, and I'm going to duplicate that layer. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the screen down a bit. And now I'm moving this layer here for my other sun. But obviously it's now all messed up, so I'm going to add a layer mask to this with my brush. This one I'm upping my opacity and flow to 100%. And now I'm just going to, with a black brush on my white screen, brush away what I don't want. Make sure you brush it all away over here, and brush over here where we got those. And you may need to play with where you set it down a bit, so you can just click on your picture, move it over a bit like that, go back to your mask, just again play around with it, and it looks like I got a little bit too close to that, so I'm going to go back to my white brush, bring my brush size down a bit, add this back in, because I want all of that included. Now I'm going to bring my opacity down to about maybe 26, my flow down, and I'm just going to very gently kind of brush this in so it looks like it's feathering out and it looks like I didn't just plop it in. And then from here I can do the exact same thing with my other sun. Cut him out, this one, cut him out, drag him over, plop him in here, put him into this snow angel, do the exact same adjustments I did with my younger son, and when you're done, you will have something similar to this. And then just in the cups, I just used some font and I typed in. And then from there, you can do a file, save as, and you can save your JPEG and also your PSD file if you think you may need to change it. Do it as a file, save as JPEG, and voila, you have your digital gingerbread men cookies, or whatever you want to call it, template created into a fun little Christmas card or whatever you want to do with it, something for fun. You can resize it, you can do whatever you want with it. In my Etsy store, I have this for sale, and with this one comes with 2 or 3 other templates, I believe. Same idea, just kind of different angles. So hopefully this helps you a little bit with your editing, and hopefully you can enjoy it and have fun. And thank you so much for watching.